right, House of Payne fans, somehow we made it. Now, let me just say the journey was not as bad as assisted living, but season 9 was certainly a season to be remembered, not so much in fondness. So, let's talk about season 9, episode 25, the season finale, Woman of the Night. Ella takes the twins without asking anyone. CJ is forced to put Aunt Ella in her place regarding how he runs his household. Calvin makes his relationship decision at dinner with Miranda. So, before going further into the video, please take a moment to hit like. Let's try to get to 100 likes on the video. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Now, a few people messaged me about the episode, and I even went on Twitter before watching the episode. Well, before recording my review. I went on Twitter just to see what was going on, with viewers as well. Long story short, if you don't follow me on Instagram, which honestly I don't see why you don't, links are in the description as I mentioned before. I posted a picture of about 57 boxes. If you don't know, eBay is my side hustle outside of YouTube. So I had about 75 action figures and plushies that I had to get ready to have shipped out. What's today? Okay, it's officially Thursday now. So basically USPS will come pick up my boxes later today. And I need to get that stuff done. So I did that. I worked from like 1 to 5:30 on that. Ate something, then I passed out because I was exhausted, and I woke up like at 9:45. So I basically missed a majority of the episodes, and I figured I'd just watch it online later tonight. And a lot of people were telling me how much they loved the episode, but then on Twitter, a lot of people, even on Twitter, people were like, I love the episode, why they had to say the best for last. I honestly don't know what to think about this episode in terms of if I liked it or if I didn't. Somebody informed me that it was actually an executive producer. Somebody was saying, I need to fact check it, but I will just say that a couple of people said someone who wasn't Tyler Perry wrote the episode. Like I said, I hate to even say that on video without actually having the proof of that, but considering 5 people told me that, I'm inclined to believe it because these people are, and they're just fans. They aren't like people from behind the scenes, but people who do their research. So I will say that if that's true, then it actually showed in this episode. I think for me, based on the cliffhanger ending, I feel like this episode was full of unnecessary conflict because this was a terrible depiction of Ella. Now, don't get me wrong now. At the beginning of the episode, when it was her versus, let's say, her versus Malik, I was a bit annoyed, but I wasn't going to be mad at the episode for how Ella was acting just because it depends on your family setup, but I have aunts and, older family members who act just like her, where they are kind, caring, but at the same time, they can come off as intrusive, nosy, and annoying. So when you try to speak up for yourself, they want to get mad at you for being disrespectful. So let's just talk about the beginning. First of all, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Hayden actually speak for the first time? And I'm not counting giggles and laughs. I mean, you're the old lady, because I think that, Lisa was kind of watching the twins. They were playing like a card game while Malik was in the living room. So I thought that was a pretty cute scene. Lisa's like, I don't want to be the old maid, the old lady. And, they kind of have a little bickering back and forth. But it was just a fun little moment. I didn't think it was anything too serious. Malik had a little bit of sass, like, well, that's a ridiculous question. I thought that was a pretty good scene. It wasn't too much of, Lisa was giving an attitude, but then I love how Malik had a little bit of sassiness and retorts, which pretty much explains that, this is a little bit of the banter where, Lisa will say something, Malik will respond, she might take it the wrong way, and then that leads to an argument. But I didn't think it was that bad compared to what we've seen of these two earlier in the season. So basically, Ella comes in, she has upside down cake that Janine asked her to bring over. And, she asked Lisa if she cooks. She doesn't. She's like, well, hey, if you ever want to learn, no, I'm good. It's kind of funny because that kind of harkened back to earlier this season where I believe that, Ella was showing Miranda how to fix some things because Miranda came over thinking she could coax Ella into fixing some things for like a company party or something where, actually Ella helped her out with it. Or helped her, help Miranda do it instead of doing everything herself. So she pretty much looks around the house and says, this house is a mess. What was going on? Toys and books and everything. And I think Lisa gets a phone call and goes outside. And, this is kind of where it starts. Hayden and Jaden are at the table playing and whatnot. And, Malik's picking stuff up. And, she just kind of goes in with the unnecessary nagging. Like, y'all got to do a better better job keeping this place clean and everything. It's like, so... yeah, I know on Ella. It's like, so how school is like, oh, it's so. Well, yeah, your daddy's paying way too much money for it to be going so. It's like, well, damn, it's fantabulous. So I think Ella chucks like a bag of balls at his chest. Who you cussing at? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You gonna curse in front of these kids? And it's like, again, Ella. I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm not the biggest Malik fan. I made it clear throughout various episode reviews this season, but lately it feels like people are beating up on him when he doesn't deserve it. Like, for example, based off the conversation between, well, I don't even want to call it a conversation. I feel like if nothing else, if you're a fan of Charlie Brown or if you grew up watching it, you knew how intrusive Peppermint Patty was. She would give her opinion, make people do things even though they didn't sign up. I feel like Ella was Peppermint Patty in this episode and Malik was Charlie Brown because he couldn't catch a break. Ella just kept sticking her nose where it didn't belong. So basically, has anybody taken into account that, the boy is trying to make it through school? I mean, not only is he trying to make it through college, he's dealing with a girl he knocked up, moving back in with his parents. I don't think he started whatever job CJ signed him up for yet, but there's a lot going on. So to have someone constantly nagging about what he should be doing, I would be upset too. And yes, I have aunts just like Ella who would just be going in and it's like, shut up. So basically, I think Malik goes upstairs to put some things away. And Ella's cleaning and she finds, what's it called? Dirty Delicious, like a flyer or a I think it's like a advertisement for the strip club that Lisa works at. I could be wrong. So she calls up to Malik. And honestly, I forgot what he said. I didn't even write it down. But basically, Ella takes it upon herself, without telling anyone, takes the twins to go over to her house because she basically is like, okay, I got to get these kids out of this hellhole. So then Curtis is over at his house watching TV. Miranda comes in and Curtis rightfully calls her out for just barging into the house. Well, we're family. Yeah, for a little while. So for a little bit longer. So basically a nod to the divorce still going through between her and Calvin. Ella comes in from the back. Apparently, she put the twins down for nap time and she's mad about the whole situation. She shows Miranda and Curtis the stripper ad. She's a woman of the night. No, baby, she's a stripper. And Curtis is like, come on, baby. Like, look, that's CJ and them's house. Let them do what they do. And Ella is just, all mad about it. So basically, she nags about CJ bringing that girl into his house, all the cursing and arguing. It's like, you should have heard him, Curtis. And basically, even Miranda's like, well, Miss Ella, there's really nothing we could do. It's like, Curtis like, yeah, just worry about it. It's like, no. I need to talk to CJ. We need to talk to him because they're unfit to watch those kids. And that's why I brought the kids over here. And they need to get their house in order. CJ needs to get his house in order. I'm like, that has nothing to do with you. Like this. Remember, if you go back to, if you have been on the channel for a while and when I reviewed the Paynes and I stopped watching, when Ella, they found that bag of money in the laundromat and that became the worst version of Ella ever. I think this was a nod to that. Like, I have never been as despised with Ella as I was during the Paynes after, I believe it was, Terrence found that bag of money in the laundromat, and then Ella took it upon herself to decide what to do with that money. So this was not a good episode for Ella. This just did not depict her in a good way whatsoever. All right, so Miranda says Calvin is going to take her to dinner. So she's basically assuming that they're getting back together. She says, well, hey, you know, for months and months now, I've been going on and on about the whole situation with Calvin. But, you know, Curtis is sent to the back to work on a rose bush. But Ella, this was the only good part of the episode. For Ella, anyway, where she basically tries to calm down. Miranda's like, wait, are you sure? And then Miranda's like, are you not happy for me? And Ella's trying to understand if Miranda isn't jumping to conclusions or if Calvin actually said they're getting back together. So they sit down on the couch. So basically, a good nod to continuity. The episode Heart to Heart, episode 8. Well, a couple of weeks ago when I was at the apartment, the condo, with Calvin, he was holding me. We ended up kissing. I just didn't tell you about it. And it was at that moment I knew that he still loved me. This season just suffered as a whole from a lot of episodes being aired out of order, because I honestly don't feel like this was supposed to be the finale. But then again, I don't know. But basically, Ella's like, well, what about Laura? Oh, well, I could just tell that was just a ploy to make me jealous. So basically, out of the blue, Calvin called me. He invited me to dinner tonight. So I need to, and Ella's like, you know, she's literally trying to say, well, are you sure that Calvin said out of his mouth that he wants to get back together? Oh, I gotta go to the mall, get a new dress, get my hair done and everything. Cause I want to look good for the night. So she rushes out of there, and Ella finishes the sentence like, basically, Miranda, are you sure you didn't misinterpret what Calvin said? So then we go to the next scene. CJ in his fire chief uniform, awesome. So he comes in. He's freaking out because he wants to know where the kids at, because, you know, they're about Malik or whoever else was about to call the police because they didn't know where the twins were. And Curtis like, oh yeah, well, Ella got him inside taking that. Okay, good. But he's like, well, yeah, she's upset. Well, about what? Look at this photo here about Lisa. So they're both like, what? That's Lisa? They're like, yeah, look, your boy did good. And then Ella and CJ go in the kitchen. So basically, you know, she makes Curtis get up to finish the rose bush. So this, honestly, to me, was my favorite part of the episode, because CJ rightfully called out Ella for what she did. You took my kids without permission. Not only that, you took them without telling anyone where you were going. Like, she didn't tell Malik, so obviously Malik's freaking out, hence why he almost called the police. So basically, this was not again, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but this was not a good episode for Ella. This just made her look like an awful person, of, you know, her being a Christian of all people. If this episode truly was written by someone else, that actually makes sense, because this episode just made zero sense in terms of continuity. At the beginning of the season, it was made clear to Curtis and Ella. I mean, hell, Curtis even knows her from the strip club. Lisa is a stripper. I don't know why this is some big revelation, it seems, where Ella feels like, oh, because she's a stripper. Basically, she's just condemning her and judging her, while CJ makes a very valid point. Look, Malik is my son. She's the girl that he chose. They're trying to, work things out, raise a baby. And I feel like the best thing I could do is to love her because my son does, or at the very least, try to help them get on their feet while they try to raise a good daughter or a good son. So what happens at my house is my house. Don't worry about it. So it's not your place to talk about, concern yourself about that, because what about Janine? She was an addict and you still loved her. That was one of my favorite quotes from the episode, because I don't see where this was. Again, I don't want to say I hate Ella. I just don't know where the thought process went into when writing this episode, because where is all, I think it was CJ or Malik. I think CJ was saying, where's all this coming from? Like, I don't know why Ella's acting that way. I mean, hell, wasn't it last week when she sat down with Miranda and Lisa and gave some solid advice about how to be, good women to themselves and to their men? Like, Miranda, be kind to yourself. If Calvin doesn't want to get back together, you need to move on. Lisa, you need to be nicer and be more understanding to Malik so you all can make things right between you two before this baby comes into the world. So now all of a sudden, Ella just feels the need to intrude when she doesn't need to. Okay. So basically, that's it. Malik and Ella's like, fine, okay, fine. So Malik rushes in and tells his dad there's a red alert downtown, something involving the mayor in an emergency. So Curtis rushes out. Malik apologizes for her, like, hey, I'm sorry about before, but it was just really crazy over there. And basically Ella just tells Malik to, hey, go get your siblings and take them back home. And Malik is like, something wrong? No, just get the twins, go back home. Okay, see you later on, Ella. And I don't know what this was supposed to do. Like I said at the beginning of this review, I think it was to just spark conflict, but it just seemed completely unnecessary. I don't feel for Ella at all because, trust me, it would have been what she said, like, kids over there eating cereal and everything. It's like, look, it would have been something completely different if the kids were running around with knives or scissors and let's say Lisa's on the couch doing nothing and Malik is just running around like a chicken with his head cut off trying to keep the house in order as best he can because Lisa isn't doing the damn thing. And then you see the situation is dire, so you take the kids out. That's one thing. But to just swoop in, take them, and just not tell anybody, no, I don't feel anything. So we get to the end of the episode. Curtis calls Ella into the living room. He's like, hey, I know you ain't talking to anybody, but you need to see this. So apparently there's a huge emergency going on. The fire department has closed off a 10-block radius. A possible explosion due to something sinister or a gas leak. And they talk about, wait, isn't that the federal building that CJ was called away to? So Miranda comes in. She's upset. Turns out Calvin asked her to dinner because he was trying to explain to her that he's going to marry Laura. I really wish we could have saw that on screen. Finally, Malik, Lisa, and the twins rush over, and Curtis like, ain't nobody know how to knock nowadays. I thought that was funny, but basically, Malik's freaking out because Janine called. He doesn't know what happened. All he knows is that his dad is hurt because he was in a bad accident at work. Janine called. She could barely make out. She couldn't really. She was crying so much she couldn't even say what happened. So that's the end of the episode. So I honestly, I don't think I like this episode because of the fact that, and look, I'm not saying it's terrible or anything, but I just don't like the way this framed. It just seemed like a bunch of unnecessary conflict. So perhaps if there is a season 10, if something's wrong with CJ, then I don't know if if he's going to apologize, like, Anel, I'm sorry I said what I said. It's like CJ, basically this episode reminded me of The Big Game where Malik rightfully and respectfully called out Lisa for disrespecting him in the same way CJ did to Aunt Ella. It's like, look, with all due respect, that's my house. I don't feel anything for Ella. I feel like if nothing else, maybe she's going to feel bad because the last time she spoke to CJ, it wasn't a good conversation, and now CJ's life is on the line. Maybe Malik's going to have to man up even faster than ever if something's wrong. Let's say if his dad is gone. I don't know. Some people online are like, what did Janine set the fire? What if she did this? What if she did that? I don't think it's something like that. But whatever happened, I just feel like this episode, it wasn't as bad as Assisted Living where there was a lot of in Assisted Living, the biggest issue is there's a lot of tell without show. We hear about Jeremy going to the sheriff. We hear about Lindor being abused. We hear about, this and that happening, but we never see anything because the only set piece is the assisted living facility. With House of Payne, there were several big things that I wish we could have saw on screen, like that Calvin and Miranda dinner scene. Or again, where the hell is all this tension coming with Ella judging Lisa? It just came out of left field. So even though why didn't we get to see any of the situation down at the federal building? Like, hell, it would have been great to finally see the old fire crew. I guess they really didn't appear this season like they were advertised to be shown. Hell, even if Janine wasn't in the episode physically, you could have had a voiceover with her on the phone crying and whatnot to Malik. So I got to give this episode like a 4 out of 10. Look, I know some people said they loved this episode. They said it was like the best episode of the season. I don't think this episode was good due to the fact of, due to all these episodes being most likely aired out of order, the lack of continuity and Ella's demeanor just coming out of nowhere. If Curtis is the voice of reason and even Miranda, Ella should check herself. 4 out of 10. There we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Similar to assisted living, I'll probably do a video in the next week doing like a season overview, my thoughts on season 9, just like I'll do a video about assisted living season 1. Do you agree with my score? Do you think it's too high? Do you think it's too low? Do you think a 4 is just right? And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I know it's something that I really shouldn't take too seriously, but Miranda did say months and months of going on about Calvin. And then she said a couple weeks ago when I was at the loft with the condo with Calvin, we kissed and hugged. I'm just going to semi-ignore the time phrases there because of the fact that if it's really been months and months of Miranda going on about Calvin and everything, Lisa should definitely be showing. But I'm just going to slightly ignore that for now. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video, but for now, meh. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for making House of Payne a very, very popular playlist on the channel. Never thought I'd say that for a show that I dislike so bad, but based off the rate of views and whatnot, definitely going to review season 10 if there is one.